Did you know that there are 5 levels of how you can delegate tasks and responsibilities to your team? We're going to look into those 5 levels. And why is that important? Because if you think you're delegating a task 1 and your virtual assistant or employee think this is a task 3, there's bound to be trouble. In fact, a lot of frustration when it comes to delegation comes from miscommunication. So let's look at what the 5 levels are, how we define them, and how we can get the most out of them. Delegation is the closest to a superpower that you can have as a manager or as an entrepreneur. But you don't just give people a task. In fact, a lot of frustration when it comes to delegation comes from miscommunication. Did you know that there are 5 levels of how you can delegate tasks and responsibilities to your team? We're going to look into those 5 levels. And why is that important? Because if you think you're delegating a task 1 and your virtual assistant or employee think this is a task 3, there's bound to be trouble. So let's look at what the 5 levels are, how we define them, and how we can get the most out of them. What sets apart a great manager from an average manager is that a great manager just delegates better. It's not necessarily the skills, the tactics, it's just that they use the right people and they delegate the right things the right way to those people. An average manager just offloads tasks, but a great manager understands that you have to be strategic about this. Delegation is not abdication. It doesn't mean you delegate a task and you completely forget about this. So a great manager understands that it's all about empowering the team, sharing the why, sharing the outcomes, working with them, alongside with them to ensure that they get the best result out of that person. Strategic delegation requires you to focus on the outcome. So share the outcome with your team and help the team understand the benefits, because everybody loves to solve problems. And once that your team has a clear idea of what needs to be done, and if it's within their capacity, they will be happy to help you with that. So completely rethink delegation. In fact, I'm going to share with you these 5 levels that are so important. I read about them in Michael Hyatt's book, Free to Focus, and I'm going to share them with you because they are so good. It completely changed the way I delegate responsibilities within my team, and I saw a great improvement in performance. The first level is do as I say. So you go to your virtual assistant, your employee, or your team member, and you say, hey, these are the instructions that I want you to follow verbatim. I don't want you to deviate from them. Follow them to a T. Don't step outside the swim. Just do as I say. That's it. Now, who is this best for? This is best for companies that have great SOPs, standard operating procedures, that have worked for them, that deliver great results, and you don't want to mess with the process. So you just need to find a person to execute that. That's it. So it's great for new tasks, but it's also great for complex procedures or complex responsibilities where there's not a lot of room for mistakes. Also for critical responsibilities. Think about this. If you work in a medical field, you always have a checklist that you have, or if you're a pilot, you always have a checklist. For very important things, you have a checklist. It's the same thing here. There are some tasks, there are some responsibilities that are so critical to the company that you cannot have any room or any flexibility, any room for improvising. You have to do as I say. This would be best for people who are detail-oriented and for people who can follow directions very well, and for people who don't mind doing routine tasks. The second level is research and report. So you go to your VA and say, hey, you do the research, this is what I need. You research, you do your thing, and then report back to me your findings. And we'll sit down, we will discuss it, and I will tell you which way we should go. This is suitable for tasks where the team members are somewhat familiar with the process, but they need some guidance. Also, it's great for entrepreneurs who don't have any SOPs, who don't have any standard operating procedures in their company, and they figure out things as they go. So it might take a while to see results because there's this research step involved. But once you have the research, once you understand which way to go, you can create an SOP, or the VA can create an SOP, and then you can train other people on how to use it. So do the research, do everything, show me the results, and I'll decide which way to go. The best person for this role would be someone who is resourceful, someone who is very detail-oriented, someone who doesn't need a lot of hand-holding, and who has good critical thinking. Level 3 is make a recommendation. You go to the VA and say, this is the topic that I want you to research. Look at all the options out there and present all the options to me. Present the pros and the cons of each options, and then tell me what you think we should be doing. I trust you well enough that you know to recommend the right thing. Still show me the pros and cons and justify why you chose that one, why you think that will benefit our company. So the difference between level 3 and level 2 is that in level 2, you as the business owner, you are the one who ultimately decides. But in level 3, you trust your employee or your team member to make a recommendation, and then you can assess if that was the right one. So it's all about growing your team and empowering your team. So at this level, you don't talk about how a task needs to be done. You share the outcome. What do you want to achieve? That's it. And this is the most common form of delegation. I think when people delegate to virtual assistants or even employees, they straight jump to number 3. So who is it good for? It's good for people who already work with your company, who know your preference, who understand what you're looking for, who understand the problem they're solving. It's not the best way to delegate to a newcomer virtual assistant who don't know yet your preference, who don't know what problem they're solving, who don't know how you take decisions, and so on. So I think for beginner virtual assistant, maybe level 1 or 2 works best. Level 4 is decide and inform. Just as the name suggests, you go to your virtual assistant, you say, this is the problem we have, you decide what we're gonna do and just keep me in the loop. I trust you to make the right decision and I don't need to be involved in this process. Now at this level, this is where things really start cooking. And this is where you can start to get your time back. At this level, when your involvement is not mandatory. At this level, the team member takes full ownership of the responsibility. Now, this works best for employees of virtual assistants who are experts in the area, who are subject matter experts, and you believe that they know more about the topic than you do. For example, let's say you're hiring a video editor. If you don't know anything about video editing, you're going to trust somebody else's expertise. That video editor will decide on the cut, on the music, on the feel, on, the effects, and everything else. You don't need to be involved in this process if you don't know much about it, because you believe they know more about this than you do. So all you have to do, you just have to approve the outcome, kind of share how you feel, you get the final green light, and that's it. But you completely trust that they are competent enough to take care of that responsibility. Number 5 is act independently. This means whatever decision you take, you have my full support, I know you'll follow through, I don't need my involvement, just do it. This is where you trust your team to execute the work well. This is best for virtual assistants or employees who are looking to move into leadership positions, and also for seasoned VAs or seasoned team members who have done it a million times, who know exactly what needs to be done, who know how to react to different situations and so on. They've done it very successfully before for a long time, and you know they can act independently without involving you. So these are the 5 levels, and each level, you can see how it gives a different permission and different autonomy to your virtual assistant or your team member. And you, as the leader, you have to decide when you're delegating a responsibility, what level of permission you give them. And can you see how not defining these levels or not communicating these levels, can you see how it can lead to frustration? Because if you delegate a level 1 to your virtual assistant, which is do as I say, don't deviate from it, just follow it to a T, and you don't communicate how you want it to be done to a VA, and they want to bring you more value, so they think, oh, it must be a level 3, right? They're going to do more research. They want to bring you more value. They want to step outside of their, swim lane and give you more information. That might frustrate you because you're thinking, no, I just want you to follow my directions. I mean, how hard can it be? Why can't I find a person who just follows directions? And the opposite is true. What if you're delegating a task and in your mind you're thinking, oh, this is a level 3. I need them to do research. I need them to use their critical thinking and so on. But you don't communicate this to your VA and they think it's a level 1. Oh, okay, I'll do it according to the SOP. I'm not going to step outside of my swim lane. And then you'll be frustrated because you'll be thinking, why can't I find someone who thinks outside the box? Why are these people acting like robots? Why can't they use critical thinking? Why do I have to spoon feed everything? So no matter what the situation is, it's not so much the task that's being delegated, maybe it's not even the person, but it's the level of communication. So next time you delegate a responsibility, keep these levels in mind so you make sure everyone is set up for success. And when you communicate these levels periodically to your team, it will become a common language in your company. When you say, hey, this is a level 2 delegation, everyone will know what this means. When you say this is a level 3, everyone will follow through. So you will have results and not surprises. And also your team will be thankful to you because they can deliver better results to you and you have a better way of communicating with them. So it's a win-win all around. And if you want to learn more about delegation, check out this free delegation workshop that I'm going to leave here in the resources. And I don't know when you watch this episode. Right now it's still free, but I think we will charge for it later. The information is just so good. And what we find is that when people see that something is free, they don't believe that there's a lot of good value. They say, oh, how much good value can there be for something that's free? Well, trust me when I say this. This is absolutely valuable. There's a lot of good information there. It has amazing tools. It's going to show you exactly what to get off your plate first, second, third, and so on, and who needs to take care of that. It's going to help you find more about yourself as a leader, what's holding you back from delegating, and why haven't you had results up until now. It'll show you what responsibilities are bringing revenues, what needs to be done by you, what needs to be done by your team. There's just so much. So we're definitely going to charge for that at some point because, people say, I can't believe this is free. I use this tool I share this tool with everyone. It's free. It's amazing. So while it's free, go get it. When we charge for it, we want to make sure that we attract people who will actually put it to a good use and not some people who just order it for free and never actually do anything with it. So we want to attract the right people who want to make a difference in their companies. But while it's still here, get it now. All right, thank you so much, everyone, for joining me today. I hope you had a lot of good information that you got out of this podcast episode, the 5 levels of delegation. Implement them, use them. I saw a huge benefit when I started using them with my team and when we changed the language that we use in my company. So I hope that was useful, and I look forward to seeing you next week. Bye.